after all the trials and tribulations, no matter how down people might have been on it, Cyberpunk 2077 has announced that it has officially sold 30 million copies of Cyberpunk 2077 and 8 million copies of Phantom Liberty, which I am ashamed to say that I still have not gotten around to play, even though I
You
loved
did. Yes.
Cyberpunk 2077 with a passion. And I played it on release on PC, and it was
Perfect. It
glorious.
was perfect.
It really was.
It
It really
really is
was.
it's such a shame that, that happened with Cyberpunk and things got so messy. Um Beautiful, beautiful game, and the collector's edition was freaking stunning. The fact that they had to go through all of that and kind of, take such a hit, money back, and all that stuff is it got messy. To see them prevail like this, 30 million copies sold, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, they made a phenomenal game.
Talk about a comeback.
They made Witcher 3, one of the greatest games, like, ever made, and this was supposed to be their big, next game, and they
Yes.
nailed it. They nailed it. I don't know if what anybody says. The game is amazing, but it was their ambition and greed. I mean, I it makes sense, but they wanted to release these things on these old consoles, and this was a
They
next gen
shouldn't
game.
have, they
It was a
shouldn't
next
have,
gen game.
though.
It should
It
have
was a
never.
a next gen game. They knew the problems that they were going to face, and they still did it. That was, negligence, like, they should have went ahead and been a bit more cautious. When you pour
It should have been
your
transparent.
Yes, they should have, because there is a going ahead and having a desire to go ahead and sell. Maybe it was a desire to sell more copies. This is not
I mean,
about
that's exactly what it
yeah,
was.
this wasn't about going ahead and not leaving those consoles out. But to go ahead and see, they should have been transparent. They should have let people know. But even then, like, when you work this hard to put such a beautiful game together, you shouldn't allow greed to kind of take over. The people will show up, the word will spread, and if you got it right, by the time you got it right, you go ahead and then you release it on those other platforms. What they did was ridiculous, and it just took away at that time everything they worked for. It was certainly a sad situation to see play out, especially again seeing the game on PC and seeing the quality that they delivered. It should have been nothing but praise. But again, they got caught up.
They did. They did, and I mean, it's sad because they did deliver something spectacular, right? Story was
Absolutely.
amazing, everything was amazing. Honestly, I wanna get back to it, and I want to play the Phantom Liberty. So, I gotta see. I gotta get to it because it's worth it. It's really that good. But there's more that came with it, right? It wasn't just this because now the game director of The Witcher
Oh,
at CD Projekt Red says, "I'm thrilled to announce that Project Polaris has entered the full-scale production phase. That is Witcher 4. With new challenges just around the corner, it's the talented and hardworking people who make me believe we can together make the upcoming Witcher saga a remarkable experience. No stopping now. Stay tuned for what's on the other side of the coin."
toss the coin to the witcher.
Oh,
Listen,
snap.
I love the energy, bro. He's
Right?
hyped. That's what you want. Listen, no stopping now. This is what you want to hear when someone is kind of in there and making a game. You want to hear the hype. You want to see that they're enthusiastic and kind of all in. Sounds promising. And come
Yeah,
on, it's
man.
The Witcher. So
Yeah, and
there
there's gonna
are
be a
high
new saga.
expectations. Yes.
So there's been different rumors going around. One of the latest ones I think I saw somewhere was that the first like is going to revolve around Gerald when he was young,
Oh, I like that.
like in his early 20s or teens or something like that. Which for me, I feel like that would be dope, but it's also like, like I'd rather have more of him as a grown person and keep that going, or give me a new storyline with a new Witcher or something like that. Just because I don't like necessarily the idea of knowing like what it butts up to. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're trying to make this like their Star Wars, right? Where we have this trilogy, then they'll give us the
Then we're
prequel
getting
trilogy,
yeah.
and then they're gonna give us the after trilogy,
That's
which also might make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna fill in the gaps. I think you're not necessarily you're so excited for the idea of what's next that you're not thinking exactly how exciting it is to go ahead and get, like the background stories and how that's gonna fill in and how much that's going to explain. It may essentially make people want to go back and play the trilogy, right? Like when once they play, these 3 games, they may wanna go ahead and jump back into the 3 that have already released. So, this might be a really good idea.
Yeah. What do you mean
I love that they're kind of like E-Day, right? They're going we're hearing kind of like
prequels?
prequels. I like it, I like it.
Yeah, well, see, because the other thing I think I heard was that it was gonna be focused on Siri and kind of like her story, which if you play the game, you can kind of see, what's going on there with
How
that.
it leads to that.
I don't know how I don't know, man. Gerald is so dope. Like he's so dope. It would suck for him not to be there. It's like he's almost like Marcus Phoenix at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like
But see,
I
think
don't know
that
if I want
you
one
just
without him.
but you just answer your own question. I think that's the way to keep him in, right? To go ahead and go back.
That would just be it. Well, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Do the
Yeah.
prequel, you still have him.
So,
I mean,
because if you move forward, it's kind of like you know the direction that they kind of have to take, right? So if he this is a way to continue to keep the game's focus on him.
either way, I think it would be dope. Like I'm all for another Witcher. And unlike the Gallopers, okay, CD Project Red is pushing things forward. And I have a big suspicion that their game is being made for the next Xbox.
Let's go.
I think they're gonna make a next gen game. They already made a game for each generation, right? They made a game that debuted on last gen, which was the Witcher, right? And then, The Witcher 3, and then they made Cyberpunk that came at the tail end of last generation and obviously was for the next generation as well. I think obviously whatever they do is going to also play on the old gens, but I think this is going to be one of those games that are your like what was the other fucking 2007 or 2006, whatever, when the Xbox 360 had that year where there was just exclusive games, right? Because the
So you
the
feel that
PlayStation 3 wasn't
this
out.
yeah.
So I feel like it's gonna be an exclusive next gen game for Xbox, which is gonna be The Witcher 4, and then the game will still come out on the other platforms, right? The series and the PlayStation 5, but it'll only be on the next gen when it comes
Next gen on yeah, like,
to
I was just
Xbox.
thinking, I'm like, at PlayStation's pace, I can see a lot of, like, next gen games that
Yes.
wouldn't go ahead and want to that if they put their games on the older platforms, they're gonna go ahead and run into that Cyberpunk type of issue. So, this is wild because this is a way also with how rapidly things are moving forward. It doesn't matter, and I know that a lot of the gallopers want to kind of frame it in for the media and with their attempt to kind of save PlayStation of how, um the focus is on the indie games and all these things that kind of gravitate to towards what PlayStation can afford right now. But Xbox is moving full force ahead. They're not gonna go ahead and shake their plans or change what they're doing to adapt to PlayStation's ways. So they're gonna continue to move forward. I think, like we said before, and someone had mentioned it in the chat, the Switch 2 is gonna come in and it's gonna be a freaking powerhouse, full force. And I think the only console and the only platform being left behind is going to be PlayStation.
Ours, 100%.